Join me as we learn Chumash for Shabbos Parshas Emor, the 7th Torah reading, chapter 24, verse 1. Vayidaber Hashem el Moshe Emor, and God spoke to Moshe, saying, Tzavas b'nei Yisrael, command the Jewish people, v'yikchu elach Hashem and zayisach, and they shall take for you pure olive oil, kosis lamoyer, which is crushed for your illuminating, lahalis ner tamid, to be kindled constantly. Rashi, Tzavas b'nei Yisrael. Why does it say Tzavas b'nei Yisrael, counting the command of Jewish people? Haven't we already learned about this commandment in the book of Exodus? So Rashi tells us that this is telling us the Torah reading, when it told us about it in the Torah reading of the book of Exodus, and not that the Tetzaveh was telling us about the building of the tabernacle. And being that it's telling us about the building of the tabernacle, and one of the items were the menorah. So therefore it tells us the purpose of the menorah. But this is also what it seems like the language here, what it says, Tzavenes b'nei Yisrael, not ve'ata tetzaveh, ve'ata seifcha letzaves es b'nei Yisrael al kach, meaning God was telling Moshe, telling Moshe about the commandment that you're going to eventually tell the Jewish people about the kindling of the menorah, which is here. Shemen zayisach, pure olive oil. Shloisha shmonim yetzim min hazayis. There were 3 kinds of oil that come out of an olive. Garisha, and the first one, karizach, is the most pure. Hein mefarashim b'menachas b'teres kenim, and the tractate of menachas and Torah's kenim, it describes the other 2. One with the sediment, and there's different 2 and 3 levels of oil that come out of an olive. Those are not fit to be used for the menorah. Tamid, constant. It doesn't mean that it should be constant, meaning like we find a fire on the altar constant. It means milayla lelayla, you would light it every evening. We find the same thing when it comes to the ascent offering that was brought in the Holy Temple every morning. The terminology is called oilas tamid, an ascent offering which is constant, though she'ina elam yom yom, it's only brought every single day. Verse 3. Outside the curtain of the covenant of the testimony, in the tent of meeting, Aaron will arrange them, every evening until the morning, Lefnei Hashem, in front of God. This is an eternal rule for generations to come. Why does it say the curtain of the testimony? It was in front of the ark, which the ark is a testimony for the Jewish people. The rabbis give another explanation. Rabbi Seinu Darshu, al Neir Maravi, there was the western lamp. The western lamp, which was the one that was closest to the Holy of Holies. That this lamp was a testimony for all people of the world to see. That the divine presence rests amongst the Jewish people. Reason being, because the Kohen would put the same amount of oil that he would put in all the other lamps, he would put in that lamp. But he would use that lamp to kindle the rest, and he would use that to end the other ones as well. Meaning that the western lamp was lit always, it was constantly there, was always lit, showing that the divine presence is by the Jewish people at all times. God is with the Jewish people at all times. Aaron should arrange it. Should arrange it in a way that it should be able to be kindled throughout the night. The rabbis have evaluated that there was a half a lug, which is about 5.8 ounces, filled each cup, and that would be good enough. This would be good enough even for a long winter night. It would be enough oil in there that the candle should be lit all night, and this was the measurement of a half a lug was set for them for the whole year. Verse 4. On the pure menorah, he should arrange the candles, Lefnei Hashem, in front of God, tamid, constantly. What does it mean, the pure menorah? One opinion, she is of Torah, that is made out of pure gold. Another explanation, al Torah shel menorah, when it was cleaned from any sediment, that he would have to first clean it and all the ash that was there and all the little schmutz that was there from the night before, and only then was he able to arrange the oil, new oil, and kindle the menorah. We now go on to the next item of today, which is the showbread that is discussed in this Torah reading. And you will take fine flour, and you will bake with it 12 unleavened loaves of bread. Each one will be made up of 2/10, made out of 2/10 of an ephah, which is about 5 liters, 1.3 gallons of flour. Verse 6. You will then make 2 stacks of bread, each one with 6 loaves, which will be situated on the pure table, before God. 6 loaves in every stack. What does it mean, the pure table? Made out of pure gold. Another interpretation. It should be directly on the table. If you recall, in the building of the actual table, there were these different half pipes that were situated in the different stacks. However, the bottom challah sat on the table. The other one sat on those half pipes that were going up, and each one was then separated. Verse 7. You will then place by each stack a pure frankincense, and this would be for the bread as a remembrance before God. By each one of the 2 stacks, there was 2 little flasks of incense that was situated by each one of the stacks. In it was the incense, and that incense was then put on the altar, as we'll see as we see. Rashi continues, and then this incense would be for the bread as a remembrance, because the fact was that the bread was not eaten, or was not put on the altar, it was only eaten by the Kohanim. 6 loaves went to the incoming shift, and 6 loaves went to the outgoing shift, and the actual bread was eaten completely by the Kohanim. So then what was given to God was the incense. The incense was placed on the altar when they would take away the bread. B'chol Shabbos for Shabbos, which was done in every single Shabbos, as we'll see in the next verse. And this was a remembrance for the bread. This way it was remembered above, meaning considered as a sacrifice, like this fistful of a meal offering, which was the remembrance of the rest of the meal offering that was given to the Kohen to eat. Verse 8, every single Shabbos this was set up before God constantly, from the Jewish people, bris elam, an eternal covenant. Verse 9, and this was for Aaron and his sons. They would eat it in a holy place. This is considered of a supreme level of holiness. From the fire of God, an eternal law. What this was, hamincha, this meal offering. Anything that was considered coming from wheat was considered as a meal offering, as a sacrifice that was brought. Which is a male terminology. This is referring to the bread, which is also a male terminology. The next Torah reading tells us about an event that happened as they counted the Jewish people on the first of year in the year 2449, an event where an individual who did not like, and there's the 3 different opinions of what actually happened, but he came to curse God. Verse 10. Vayetze ben Isha Yisraelis, a son of a Jewish woman, v'hu ben Ish Mitzri, but he was also the son of an Egyptian man, left. Where did he go? B'seich ben Yisrael, amongst the Jewish people. Vayinotzu b'machane, and he made a quarrel. There was a fight amongst them, with him in the camp. Who was he fighting with? Ben Yisraelis v'Isha Yisraelis. There was a fight between a man who was a son of an Israelite, meaning he was a Jew from his father and his mother, together with this fellow who was only, his mother was Jewish. What happened here? There are 3 different opinions, and Rashi explains. Vayetze ben Isha Yisraelis, from where did he leave? Meaning, Reb Levi Emor me'ilama yatzeh, he left the world to come. He lost his portion in the world to come because of cursing God's name. Rab Rachi explains as follows what happened. Where did he leave from? This comes in connection with the previous Torah reading, which talks about the showbread that was on the Holy Temple. And what happened was, Liglig V'Omar, he was making fun of the concept of the showbread. He said as follows, you're only going to situate the bread on Shabbos? A king is supposed to eat warm bread every day. You think that a king is going to eat bread which is 9 days old, because if you count the day that it was baked until they brought it to the Holy Temple and then it sat for a week. He says, what, 9 days old bread you're giving to a king? He was making fun. So another guy countered him making fun, and that's how the fight ensued, and ultimately he cursed God's name. Umasni Samar, the Bryce explains as follows. This is a fellow who was found guilty, meaning he had a dispute with another Jew. And because he had a dispute with another Jew and he was found guilty, he decided that he's going to curse God's name. What happened? He wanted to pitch his tent in the tribe of Dan, because he said, my mother is from the tribe of Dan. I have the right. So the people of the tribe of Dan came to him and said, what are you doing here? You don't belong here. He said, 1 second, I'm from the family of Dan. My mother's from the tribe of Dan. So they said to him, don't you know that it says the tribes go according to the father? It doesn't matter if your mother's from the tribe of Dan. You don't belong here. So they decided, let's take it to Moshe. They went to the Beis Din of Moshe. And he walked out guilty, meaning that he did not have the right to pitch his tent there. He had to go pitch his tent outside the camp together with the multitude, with the Erev Rav, who came from Egypt as well, and they were Egyptians, and that's where he had to go. He got upset that he was found guilty, so therefore he went and cursed God's name. What does it mean, the son of a Mitzri? How does the son of a Mitzri even come over here? Where does he come from? If you recall, in the book of Exodus, there was a time where an Egyptian guy, violated a Jewish woman. And Moshe found out and saw what was happening, and Moshe killed that Egyptian. This is the son of that event. So what's he doing amongst the Jewish people? Even though technically he didn't have to convert, because all the Jewish people were then new, but because it goes according to the mother, meaning he accepted upon himself the Jewish laws. He didn't stay in Egypt together with the Egyptians. He left Egypt and decided to join his mother together with the Jewish people. They were fighting in the camp. They were fighting about what camp, where he belongs. Isha Yisraeli, who's the Jewish man, which was fighting with him, which protested by the very fact that he was pitching his tent in the tribe of Dan and he didn't belong there. And the next verse is verse 11. And he then pronounced God's name. Ben Aisha, who is the one that did this? Ben Aisha Yisraeli, the son of the Jewish woman. Es Hashem, God's holy name. Vayikalel, and he cursed it. Vayiviu Eisel Moshe, they brought him to Moshe. Who was his mother? His mother was Shloimis, the daughter of Divri from the tribe of Dan. Rashi, Vayikoiv, he pronounced Ketargumei, Upori, she said it clear. Shenakav Hashem HaMenyuchad, he said God's holy name. Gideif, and then afterwards he cursed it. Hu Shema Meferish, which name are we talking about? The special, clear, beautiful name of holy name of made of Yud Kei Vav Kei. How did he know about it? Sheshama Misinai, he heard it at Mount Sinai. His mother's name was the Shleimis, the daughter of Divri. Shifchan Shal Yisrael, the Torah is telling us the praise of the Jewish people. That the Torah states clearly only this one woman's name. She was the only woman who had a extramarital affair, or was promiscuous at the time, and therefore she was the only one that was with a non-Jew. Shleimis, and we see this in her name. Why is she called Shleimis? She was a woman who was flirtatious with many different people. She would ask everybody how they're doing, especially the non-Jewish people at the time, strangers, and she would say and ask how they're doing, which was not modest. Bas Divri, also a woman of words. Dabrani says she used to talk a lot. She was flirtatious. She would talk with all people. Because she was acting in an immoral way and not in an appropriate way. Because of that, she ended up doing something wrong. Lamate Dan, to the tribe of Dan, Magid, this teaches us, Shaharasha, a bad person, Goyim Gnailoi, causes an embarrassment for himself, Gnailov, embarrassment to his father, Gnailashifta, embarrassment to his tribe. So too, Kayetzabai, we find the opposite. A good person, Aliyav, Banachisamach Lamate Dan, Shevach loy, Eliyav, praise to him. Shvach laviv, praise to his father Achisamach. Shvach l'shiftei, and praise to his tribe, the tribe of Dan. Verse 12. They placed him in solitary confinement, in jail, in a holding cell, to know until what should be done with him. Over here it tells us, Vayinichu, where'd they put him? Levadi, on his own, in solitary confinement. Vayinichu, they did not put him together, Mekoisha Shimedu. At the same time, there was another episode which is discussed in the book of Numbers. There was an individual by the name who was a Mekoisha Sheitzim, collected wood on Shabbos, which was violating the Shabbos. And at that time, Shneim Hayu Beperek Echad, they were there both at the same time. V'yoidim Hayu Shemekoisha Shmemitzah, they knew that the one who collected the wood, his capital punishment, that he was liable of capital punishment, because the Torah says clearly, Mechalalel, those who desecrate the Shabbos, Meisumas, will liable of capital punishment. However, their question was, Avalei was not clearly stated, Be'ezemisa, which punishment of death? L'kach nemar. Therefore, it says, the Torah says it was not clearly stated what should be done to him. Therefore, he was in the holding cell. However, when it came to this individual who cursed God's name, the Torah says, to explain to them. Meaning, they had no idea if he actually was liable of capital punishment or not. But they were both, at the same time, they were both put in prison, and they were both held separately until they would find out what should be done. Verse 13, and God said to Moshe, saying, take out the person who cursed God's name, outside the camp, and all those people who heard him curse God's name, they must place their hands on him, al reishe on his head, and all those that heard, the Sidim will place their hands al reishe on his head, and the entire community will have him stoned, will stone him. Rashi, verse 13, what's going on here? Hashoimim, what does it mean, those who heard him? Elu ha'edim, these are the witnesses that witnessed that event. Kol, what does it mean? All the people that heard? Lahav yesadayanim, which means the judges as well, they have to place their hands on him. Es yedeim, their hands, they tell him, Damcha b'reishecha, it's your own fault, because ve'einanu nanashim b'misascha, we will not be punished by killing you. She'ata garamta lecha, you caused it to yourself. Kol eida, what does it mean? Everybody would stone him. The Maimed Kol Eida, while everybody was standing there and watching. Mikan, from here we learn, a messenger of a person is just like the person himself, because the witnesses and the judges, they were the representatives of the Jewish people to do the decree that God placed on this person, so it's as if they did it themselves. Val B'nai Yisrael, verse 15. Val B'nai Yisrael to Daber Lemer, and to the Jewish people you therefore say, Ish, any man, ki yikalos alikov, who curses God, v'nasa chetoi, must bear his sin. V'nasa chetoi, bekaris, which is that he dies prematurely, kishein asra, only when there is no warning. V'noikev shem Hashem, verse 16, however, one who pronounces the proper name of God, moisyumus is liable of capital punishment, rogim yirgim umay, he will then be stoned by the entire, by the entire community, kager, the convert, ka'ezrach, the resident, benokve shem, when they pronounce God's name, Yumas will be put to death. V'noikev shem, the previous one cursing is only is a killing by God. Noikev shem, meaning that he says clearly, one is only, the cursing is not enough for it to be liable of capital punishment. It is only if he also states God's name clearly. Not one that curses God's secondary name. V'noikev, what does it mean? He clearly states it. Loshin klola k'may ekov, he says it, but not only does it say, but also in a way of a curse. Now the Torah tells us about other laws as well, pertaining damages. Any person who strikes any human being, Yumas will be mortally killing that in the person, then he must be put to death. Rashi, being that it said already in the book of Exodus, if you kill a person and he dies, the person is liable of capital punishment. This is only I know when he killed a person. How do I know that also applies to a woman or a child? Therefore it says in our pasuk, kol nefesh adam, any human being, no matter who it is liable of capital punishment. Verse 19, a man who blemishes his fellow man, according to what he did to the person, should be assessed to him. Meaning that whatever, as we're going to see in the next verse, that you assess the monetary value of what he has done to this individual, that's what he has to pay. As we see, verse 20, shever tachas shaver, a fracture, monetary compensation for a fracture, for an inflicted fracture. Ayin tachas ayin, an eyesight for the eyesight, so too the monetary compensation for an eye, as Rashi will soon explain. Shein tachas shein, a tooth for a tooth. And kashayitim ma'adam, the same blemish that the person inflicted upon the person, so too, ken yinasei bai, so too you will assess that person as well. Rashi, ken yinasei bai, Pirsha Rabbi Seinu. The rabbis explain, it doesn't mean that you afflict that person the exact same thing. Ella l'tashlumi mamin, it means a compensation of money. You evaluate what would a slave be worth at this amount. That's why it says you give something that you give from hand to hand. Verse 21. Umake behemo, and one who strikes an animal, who injures an animal, Yishalmena must pay for it. Umake adam yumas. One who injures his parent must be put to death. Rashi, Make behema yishalmena l'mayla. We already learned this about a person hitting an animal. Over there it's talking about when a person kills an animal. But here it's talking about when he injures it. Make adam, even if he didn't kill him, but he did a wound. Over here it doesn't say the soul, but it says a person. And over here it's talking about this is specifically talking about a parent. It's coming to compare its case to injuring an animal. The same when we're talking about when a person hits the animal, it means that the animal is alive, not a dead animal. This is talking about hitting their parents when they are alive, not hitting them after they died, because then there's not liable of capital punishment. Because we find that in the case where a person curses his parents even after they die, he is still liable of capital punishment. Therefore he says, when it comes to hitting, if they're dead, he hits them, then they're still alive. Just like when you hit the animal, there has to make a bruise, and only then are you liable to pay. So too, he's only liable if he makes a bruise in them, and only then is he liable, considered capital punishment. Mishpat echad, one law applies. The same law applies to the convert, to the resident. Will be because I am God, your God. Ani Hashem lekechem. Ani Rashi. I'm the God of everybody. The same way I put my name on everybody, so too I put it on the converts as well, and thereby their laws are equally the same. Verse 23, Moshe spoke these laws to the Jewish people, and they took out the one who cursed God's name, and outside the camp, and they stoned him, and the Jewish people followed as Moshe had commanded. Kol ha-mitzvah, all the details of the mitzvah mura that we mentioned previously, b'skila, stoning him, b'mokei macher, and b'mokei macher, stoning him in another place, which means we explained that there are three parts to stoning. Tchia, first they had to push him off a highest place. Regima, then putting a big stone on him and stoning him. Utliya, and then after stoning him, then they would hang him. This concludes the Torah reading of Parshas Emor.